informational video on server 2012, but this is going to apply to really any server platform from the Microsoft server series, except probably small business server, which it still applies to. So any server from 2000 to 2012, which I'm currently running right now, this should apply. Now, Windows distribution services, I think, came out in 2008. It was called something else like it starts with an R. I'm not really sure. However, they changed it to WDS, and in my opinion, it's a lot easier. So, a friend of mine asked me to just give him some information on how to set it up in a virtual machine. What I have here is my Windows Server 2012 running on my Mac. It doesn't run heavy. This server is my domain controller. It's my Windows distribution system. So if I have a computer that comes in the house and I need to repair it, what I'll do is just put it on the network, enable the PXE or network boot in the BIOS, have the boot order set to the network or the PXE boot, and then just have it boot and find my server. But before that, you need to do some preparation. So if you have virtual machine, I recommend getting it. This tutorial is just based off of that. First thing we're going to look, it looks a little different on the Mac, but essentially it's the same information. So some of the key points is going to be your network adapter. With server, you can do DHCP, meaning your server can be the router, which is awesome, and in an enterprise environment is the way you want to go. The problem with having the server as DHCP is it's going to take up a lot of processing power, and it's going to use up a lot of your resources. So this iMac's an i5, and I didn't want to slow it down. Plus I have daisy chain routers throughout my house, and I have one router as a DHCP server. It'll still work even though the Windows server is not the DHCP server. So anyway, what I did is pretty much I bridged my adapter, so I'm getting an IP address directly from the main network, and I'm not getting any NATed IP address. Case in point would be, let's look at real quick my IP address here. All right, so my IP address is .8. You see this, it's 128 subnet, 10.10.5 .8, and if you look at this PowerShell, it's supposed to be better, but I mean, look at this crap. Come on. Takes way too long. Alright, so I have a 10.10.5.5. It's on my 128 subnet. I subnetted my internal network. It's overkill, but I'm actually studying for my CCNA, so this is working just fine for me. So you want to have a static IP address on the server. Any server you ever implement needs a static IP, period. Alright, so you'll go over to Windows Server 2012 is based off of Windows 8 platform, same arrows and all that good stuff. So if you're not good with the shortcut commands, you'll have some problems with Windows 8 or Server 12. But this is the bar over here I'm looking for. Yeah, it's not that easy to get to. Okay, so first thing is go ahead and ncpa.cpl after you set up your Windows server. This is just a shortcut command to get into your network connections. And if we right click, then we do status, details, you see that all my stuff is statically configured, properties, IPv4, and this is all statically configured. It's also a DNS server, so I got it looping back to itself. And that's the 127. So, you want to pick an IP address outside of the DHCP scope. So if you have a Linksys router, 192.168.1.1 is usually the IP address class that it uses, which is a class C, and they usually give you like 50 IP addresses, 49 through 100 or something like that, and so you want to give it something outside of that scope, because if you don't, then you have some IP conflicts. I usually go with the first 10 numbers of the subnet. Case in point would be like 192.168.1.1. That's usually the router's IP address. Then my server would be like .2, and then my other server .3. Then maybe another client computer .4, and so on and so on. So just keep it out the range of the DHCP scope, and you'll be fine. All right, and once you do that, you have to install the WDS role or feature. And I already have it installed here. Windows Server 2012 is really cool. It's really intuitive. It's getting a lot easier to manage at any level of your IT career. Me being kind of exposed to this a long time ago, I really enjoyed this because it's easier. So anyway, we go to Tools. Now that, say you have it already installed, you have the network stuff out the way. And just to show you kind of what's going on with my network adapter, you see how it says bridged Ethernet. So just make sure that when you're setting up your virtual machine, that's how it is. Okay, you set up your server here. And I think if you right click, you can add a server, and it would just point back to your, this is actually my domain, tcc.local, and this is my fully qualified domain name, excuse me. And I already added it. It's running. You see the little green mark there. That's always a good sign. And then your boot images. Now the boot images, it's looking for some specific stuff. So let's see if I have a boot image somewhere around here. Okay. I thought I maybe had it. I know I put it somewhere in here. Alright, so we're going to try like a Windows 7 Home Premium. And what it is you have to extract it first. That's why you're not seeing it. Your image should be an ISO file or what have you. And I'm pretty sure I have one extracted here. Okay. Where you at, buddy? I'm pretty sure I have something on local. Let's see here. Ah, there it goes. Images. Boop. 64 images. Huh. Thought I already set this up. I know I got it working. But it doesn't look. So pretty much on the C drive, it'll create an images folder, or it should at least have one. And this is pretty much where you want to store all your images. So grab a Windows 7, Windows 8 image and just bring it in here. So you can keep them on the local machine because you don't want it running across your network because you're already congesting the network, transferring large packets, installing this new machine or repairing this new machine over the network. So once you go ahead and extract it, then you're going to find these boot WIM files. And they're going to be the only files shown just because, as you see, it's filtering it by .wim. Once you get that and you run through the wizard, it's pretty straightforward. You'll see an image here, and your drivers, you can also add drivers for your specific machine and then link it to the boot image. So you would just like right click your boot image and then add drivers and just walk through that process. I'm sure there's some more in-depth tutorials on this. This is more really was for a buddy of mine, and I wasn't going to put too much time into it, but just really give him an idea of how I did it, and I'm sure you could take it from there. So once you get the image in there, you can add drivers. I did that, and it's really an unintended install. Some of the higher end computers or even older computers, the NIC card doesn't show up, which is going to put a bottleneck in your idea because you need network connectivity so that the server and the computer can communicate. Now this is communicating on a layer 1 basis, so it is looking for the MAC address. The PXE boot is communicating from the server to the client, but it's exchanging MAC address as a router would in any layer 1 scenario. I hope this has been informative, and leave me a like and some comments. Thanks.